Okay, so we're recording at the moment. I've started the meeting quite early because not sure what time people will be coming. I think a few might drop in 5 minutes before, so I've arrived 7 minutes before. And I'm recording the meeting just to try to sort out where it's going. It's recording to the cloud, so hopefully it's working. First two guests have arrived. Hello, Ian. And hello, Marilyn. You're the first. Greetings.
Morning.
Hello. Hello.
Morning, Eric.
Hi.
Oh,
You've sorted out your microphone and you're both on the same screen now.
yeah, I thought that might be easy, not knowing how many are in your class.
I'm not sure. Once we start the lesson, we'll have PowerPoint. So I'm not sure how many will actually how many I'll actually be able to see. Probably none, but hopefully you'll be able to see me and you'll also see the PowerPoint if everything works okay. So there we go.
What's somebody else?
Carl, Giselle, good morning. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
And then if you click on here, then you go to that.
I'm just getting my instructions of how to do it. Zell's done it, I haven't done it. Yeah.
Jane, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hola, Jane.
Hola. Oh.
Connecting to audio. Jane's got a very puzzled frown on her face.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously hasn't done it as well.
Presumably you can hear me, Jane.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm just looking to see where you mute it. Where's the mute?
Are you on an iPad?
Yes.
If you touch the top of the touch the screen.
Hi, Lorraine.
Hello there.
We're coming thick and fast now.
Okay, I see it.
Top,
Okay.
Caroline. Hola, Caroline.
It hides itself. Hola. Hi, Caroline.
Oh, hola.
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 Yeah.
No. I can't talk now.
I thought you were going to mute us, Eric.
Can't talk now.
Say again.
I thought you were going to mute us.
Well, no, I'm not muting anybody at the moment.
You mute yourself if you want to.
I thought people would be muted when they came in, but
only if you mute yourself, only if you actually select it.
Which is fine at the moment. I guess it's just when the dogs start barking we need to worry. But
well, if my dog starts barking, I will worry because I haven't got one.
We'll just chug along as we are for the time being, I think.
Oh, hi, Jane.
Abigail's here.
Hello.
Hello, Abigail.
Hi, everybody. I've got to say, it's easier for remembering people's names.
It is.
Yes, it's a great help. It's a great help to me.
Hi, Giselle. Giselle's gone to a different class.
Giselle and Carl have separated.
Yes. But we made sure we're not in the same room so we don't get feedback, we thought.
Good. And Caroline. Hola, Caroline.
Hello, Caroline. Oh, Caroline's the only
She's muted. She's muted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but she better hear. She's got a coffee. Oh no, it's another Marilyn's got a coffee. Or Marilyn, other half. There we go.
Amanda, buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Right, this is where we run out now because we can only get 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to scroll along. Yeah.
Oh, do you?
I think if you scroll along, you can get more.
Leslie, hola.
Yeah, that's what makes sense for us to be on the same one, I think.
Oh, yeah. I see. Yeah. Scroll sideways. So if you touch the screens and scroll sideways.
Yeah.
Guess who hasn't done one yet? Oh, I did one, but I didn't do much with it.
I'm not able to
I've got
give
two
anybody
cameras.
lessons in this, I'm afraid. Hopefully, we'll get used to it fairly soon.
All learn together.
Yeah, for the time being. So we've got a couple of minutes to go, and we've got what 11 so far, which is quite good.
Gosh.
I am recording the meeting, so once it's over and I work out how to do it, I'm recording to the Zoom cloud. So there must be some way of sharing it with everybody, and I'll send a link round so those who participated, if they want to go through the pain again, they can do. And anybody who missed the meeting will be able to spend an hour of their life catching up with it. So there we are.
Yeah.
So I'll just give it a couple of minutes to let anybody else join, and then we'll kick off.
Gives you practice for the harder Spanish one, doesn't it? Who's joined?
Sorry, Carl.
I say, gives you practice for next week's advanced Spanish.
Well, this is a dry run for that. So, I just thought
Easier Spanish, harder video.
it's not advanced. We call it Spanish plus. It's not much plus than that. So don't build your hopes up.
Who's joining that one?
Me.
From our class, Jane's in. We've got a few people who've joined it, which is
Caroline not?
Which is good. And for those who've done the basic class before and are doing a repeat or half a repeat, I have changed the course this year, and I'm not using Sueños for the basic class. I just thought it took us down too many blind, useless alleyways, talking about things that we don't really need to talk about. So I'm trying to make it a little bit more practical so that those of you who go to Spain or have Spanish friends and relations would get some more practical experience out of it. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it will work well. Okay, so it's just after 10. So I think we've got everybody here that we're likely to get. So let's kick off. I'm going to share the screen now with PowerPoint. So you should see a PowerPoint presentation up on your screen, and you should still be able to see me. I haven't muted anybody, but I noticed that one or two of you have muted yourselves, which is absolutely fine. If background noise becomes an issue, and it seems all right at the moment for me, the postman's not been yet, so the dog's not started barking. So we'll see how we get along. If anybody starts annoying humming, I'll mute you double quick. Okay, so let's.
Am I muted, Eric?
No,
you're not.
Oh, no. That's all right.
You're not. You have a little red microphone if you are. That's.
Yeah, no, I didn't think I was, but yeah.
Okay, so hopefully everybody can see the PowerPoint. Yep.
Yep.
And I guess you all got the documents that I sent around yesterday. So you have the Spanish alphabet. I'm going to spend a fair bit of time going through the alphabet because past experience, it does take a while for Spanish pronunciation to sink in, and it's really important to be able to pronounce our Spanish letters properly to be understood by a Spaniard. So I'm gonna spend ages going through that, and you'll all be sick of the alphabet by the time we finish. But hopefully, it will prevent me in 9 months' time saying QU equals K, and things like that. So there we go. So, bienvenidos. Español básico, lección 1. Buenos días, me llamo Eric. Now I've been learning Spanish for 6 years now. And I started to learn Spanish because my son married an Ecuadorian girl whom he met in Brussels. They got married in Ecuador, and Margaret, my wife, and I went across for the wedding. And I felt like a typical Brit abroad, expecting everybody to speak English. I arrived in Quito airport, marched up to the immigration desk, and I can't remember exactly what I said. I think it was something like Buenos nachos, which means good crisps. Completely the wrong thing, and my Spanish didn't really get any better during the whole of the couple of weeks that we spent in Ecuador. Fortunately, most of Lucia's family speak really good English, but when I came back, I decided really I need to speak Spanish. I'm going to go to Ecuador again, and I don't want to be like a fish out of water. I've now got 2 fully bilingual grandchildren who can switch between English and Spanish without blinking. One's aged 5 and one's aged 3, which puts me to some shame at 67, struggling a little with my Spanish. So I need to up my game this year and get better too. So, ¿por qué quieres aprender español? Why do you want to learn Spanish? I guess there's going to be lots of reasons. I know some of you, like me, have got sons and daughters that have married Spanish-speaking partners. I know that some of you have got villas in Spain and the Canary Islands. Some of you want to travel, all perfectly valid reasons. Learning a second language, of course, is supposed to be very good for the old brain, so that as we get older, it should help stave off dementia, if we're lucky. I don't know about that. So for this basic course, I have changed it a little bit. I'm going to concentrate more on practical Spanish, the sort of conversation that would have been useful to me when I first went to Ecuador, just saying good evening to the guy on the immigration desk instead of good crisps would have been a great thing. And the aim is that by the end of the year, particularly if we can get together as a proper class, I want you to be able to have a conversation with a Spanish speaker, do things like order a meal, go shopping, get around by bus or train, book a hotel room, complain about the lack of towels in the hotel room and all that kind of thing. When we could all meet, the classes were good fun. Everybody enjoyed a chat. Lots of people made new friends. We had a coffee. The biscuits were great. Now you've got to be able to supply your own coffee and biscuits if you want them, although my diet forbids biscuits right now. But we'll try and make it as enjoyable as we can via Zoom. Do chip in if you've anything to say. Stick your hand up at any time. I I think there's a way of sticking your hand up on Zoom so by pressing a little button. We'll see how that goes. But at the end of the class, if you've not wanted to interrupt, we will have some time for questions and queries. And don't be frightened of asking stupid questions. I wish I'd asked a lot more, I thought, was stupid questions during my first year of Spanish. I'd have sort of saved me that moment 3 years in when I thought, oh, that's what it meant. That's what it meant. We will do homework, but I'd also encourage you to spend some time every day practicing your Spanish. Find somebody to practice with. I used to practice with my old dog, and she's pretty good at Spanish now. She knows all the basic commands in Spanish. My wife refuses to talk to me in Spanish, so the dog's my my only Spanish foil. She's really very good. I think I told the class last year that I took her for her annual injections, and the guy at the vets got talking to him. It turned out he was from Spain, and he'd married an English woman and come across here. I said, my dog speaks Spanish, and he was gave me a strange look, and I said, she does, and I said, siéntate, and the dog sat down, and the look on his face was brilliant. So she didn't let me down. He didn't let me down on that occasion. So talk to your dog, talk to your wife if she'll talk back to you in Spanish. Try and find a friend or somebody. There's lots of things online that you can do now where people are willing to, Spanish people who are trying to learn English are very happy to speak to English people, and it's good to have that sort of mutual self-help. So in today's lesson, I want to talk about 4 things: pronunciation, sex, the formal and the informal, and accents. Accents, both those little things above letters, those little marks above letters, and also regional speech variations that you'll come across. So kick off with pronunciation, and here I think it'd be useful to go to our alphabet in just a second. Spanish is a really precise language. You've got a copy of the alphabet. There's slightly more letters than there are in the English alphabet, and 28 I've got. And apart from some regional accents, every letter has a very precise sound, and every letter in a word is sounded. Now, there are a few exceptions to that, which we'll come across, but generally every letter is sounded and it always has the same word. In English, that's just not true, is it? We have lots of silent letters. We have different vowel sounds, long A's, short A's, long vowels. E can be pronounced in lots of different ways. In Spanish, always the same. So if you learn it, you're going to be able to pronounce your words correctly, even if they do sound a little strange to you when you're first starting. So let's just have a look through the alphabet. I've got the English alphabet down one column, and I've got the Spanish letter in the next column. So we say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc. The Spanish would say A, B, C, D, E, F, E. eche. It's a different sound. So if you're ever checking into a hotel room or booking an airline ticket, booking a ticket somewhere, and they ask for your name, I'm going to say Eric Rainer to try and make it sound Spanish, but they'll go, how can you spell that out for me? And you'll need to be able to say R-A-Y-N-A-R-A. Otherwise, they won't have a clue what you're saying if you say R-A-Y-N-E-R. So useful to learn that, really useful to learn that. But the pronunciation is what I really want to go through today. Now, we're going to spend probably 15 minutes on this, so bear with me. And we'll probably revise a few things next week too. So the first letter, A. It's a short A, as in apple. And typically Spanish sound is adios, adios, a short A. B is a B sound, as in ban, el banco. Now, a lot of people say the Spanish sound there, these, as bees, and that's perfectly true. They do. They say voy instead of voy to go somewhere, I go somewhere. They say avenida instead of avenida, avenue. And people say, should I be saying but instead of ver? Honestly, it doesn't matter. Everybody, you can if you want to, but there's no need to. You can carry on with the English ver and the English be, or just go to the Spanish who tend to say be for everything. I've asked my daughter-in-law about this a few times, and she says the Spanish can't tell the difference between B and V. Their ear just doesn't recognize any difference between it. So it doesn't matter. I've never been wholly satisfied with that answer, in honesty, because it just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. But she swears by it, so I'm happy to accept her word for it. Si or se in Spanish can have a number of different sounds depending on the letters that follow it. So, for example, you can have a hard K sound, as in call. Example would be cava, nice breakfast drink when you're on holiday. You can have a soft C, so it's a se sound, as in la cena, which is dinner, meal. And you can get other sounds depending on the letters that follow it. So when it's followed by a U and an A, it's a qua sound, like quack. UE is also qua, la cuenta, the bill. And a ch sound if you've got CH, exactly the same as the English ch sound. So I think you don't look at that list there and think, oh, I've got to learn all those. Look through it and understand it. When you come to the word, it's often obvious. Comida, you'd never say somida. Una quota. I think a lot of it will come naturally to you as you learn Spanish. So don't be too deterred. D is de, and it's a d sound, as in David. Una ducha, shower, a shower. E is my name is Eric in Spanish. Eric, which always sounds strange to me when people call me Eric, but that's my name. It's an S sound as in end, and enero, January, is an example. F is FA, and it's a F sound as in fall, la fotografía, photograph. G is E, and again it has different sounds depending on the letters that follow it. It can be a hard G, as in gallon, the English word gallon, a G sound. El gato, the cat. It can be a Gu sound, guapo, to mean sexy or attractive. A H sound, as in hen. So an example would be gente, people. You've got that hard G before a U. A U following the G simply hardens the G. So guerra means war, and it's a G sound, guerra. That's where we get gorilla from, of course. GI is a H sound, girasol for sunflower. Guitarra, following the U is hardens it again. And if it's followed by an O or a U, it's a hard G sound again. Gordo, fat. Gusto, to taste. So there is an H in Spanish, but it's a G, gente. The H sound, H, is the letter, is silent. You just don't sound it. You know, you've been brought up like me to be a good speaker of English. My mother will always be saying, "Sound your H's, Eric," and it's drilled into me by my parents and at school. As soon as you start learning Spanish, you've got to drop all your H's. So hunger isn't hambre, it's hambre, hambre. Forget the H completely, hambre. I is another letter that causes a lot of confusion. It's pronounced E in Spanish. It's causing me a lot of difficulty at the moment because I've been teaching my 5-year-old granddaughter to read and to write. And when we're doing phonics, she's used to the Spanish I being sounded as E and the Spanish E being sounded as E. So it does cause some confusion. And it causes confusion for us learning as well. But Spanish I is E, as in Egypt, and an example is inglés, English, inglés. The J is called ota, and it's a H sound, hot. So jamón is ham, jamón. K, don't see many Spanish words starting in K. Its Spanish name is Ka. The sound is K, as in kill, and an example is el kiosco, which is a kiosk. There's another Spanish K sound, that's QU. QU is always sounded as a K, and it's one of the most difficult things for new Spanish speakers to remember in my experience. They will always say things like queso for cheese. It's queso, queso. QU equals K. L is LA, pronounced sounded L, as in long. Example would be el limón. There's also a double L letter. I think this has been dropped from the modern Spanish alphabet, but it's still there in the language, and it's called an L. It's a double L, and it's a Y sound, as in yank. So la lluvia, rain, is an example of that. MA is M, pronounced M, mat. La mujer, the woman. An N is Enye, and it's a N sound. Negro, as in black. There's also an Enye, which is an N with the little squiggle over the top. And that's pronounced Enye. And it's a N sound, as in cañón. You'll see it a lot in Spanish, and an example is el niño, child. Niño. You've got a ñ there. Hope you're all practicing your ñs at home. Yeah. O is O, as in orange. Oro is a good example, gold. The Spanish O is a very clipped O. It's not an long O like we might do in English. So very short clipped O. The capital of Ecuador is, as I'm often being reminded, is Quito, not Quito. So beware those long English vowels. O. P is pe, and it's a P sound, as in pay. El pimiento, pepper. A Q is Q, and it has a K sound, as in kilo, quizás, perhaps. The R is an R, and it's pronounced R, as in rat. El Rio is an example, Rio. The Spanish, of course, roll their R's. Some of us can do it, some of us can't. I'm in the latter category. My wife, who can't speak any Spanish and who refuses to speak Spanish, annoyingly can roll her R's perfectly. My little grandson could roll an R from the age of 2. He used to sit on my shoulders, rolling his R's in mockery of my poor efforts. My granddaughter couldn't roll her R's until she hit 5. This year she managed it, and she's making up for lost time, I can tell you. It's quite important if you want to be a perfect Spanish speaker. If you just want to get by, you'll get by doing as badly as you can, as badly as I do. Ere, that is. S is ese, and it's a s, as in send. El sol, the sun. T is te, as in tell, and el tren is the train. A U is oo, and it's an oo sound, as in spoon. Las uvas, or uvas, if you prefer uvas, uvas. The Spanish won't be able to tell the difference. They're grapes. V is uve, and it's a V sound or a B sound, depending which part of Spain you come from and how you enunciate it. So, la ventana, window. A W is uve doble, or doble uve sometimes, and it's a V sound as well, as in vat. So, el vata, toilet. If you own a Volkswagen car, by the way, you drive an uve doble, which causes some amusement. BMWs are BMW uve dobles. So useful to know. X, and it's an X sound, as in exceed, el extranjero, foreigner. Y in South America is often said as Y. Y is the official Spanish name, and it's a Y sound. Y, I think, just means the Greek one. So it's a Greek letter. Y as in yacht, la yema, egg yolk. As an example. Z is zeta, and it's a S sound. There's no Z in Spanish, it's S, as in speed. Los zapatos, shoes, is an example of that. So that's a quick run through the Spanish alphabet. Have a little practice. Don't expect to get it exactly off pat, exactly straight away. It takes time to sink in and soak in and permeate your consciousness, but try really hard to make your letters Spanish letters. It will mean that you're understood, and that's much better. Caroline, you've raised your hand.
I seem to remember, although maybe wrong, if it's a double R, you roll it, and if it's an R, just an R, you don't. Is that wrong?
You really roll it if it's double R.
Right.
Yeah, answer. An R at the beginning of the word would get a R sound, or at the end of a word it would get an extra R, a little trill. If it's in the middle, like camarones, you would really roll it. Yeah, and it varies from region to region in South America, but yeah, you should try to roll it, and you should try and do a little trill if it's at the beginning or the end of a letter, but less so. It's a subtle thing, but you'll still be understood if you give it a R. You know, that I don't think there'll be a mistake in understanding. It will simply be they'll realize you're not a native Spanish speaker, but you've probably given them a few other clues by that time anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Great. Okay, so let's move on to sex. Actually, I only put said sex to get your attention. What I really mean is gender. So you'll be familiar, if you've done French or a number of other languages, Italian, that nouns have a gender. They're either masculine or feminine. It's the same in Spanish. You've got masculine and feminine nouns. Annoyingly, if you're a good French speaker, it's not going to serve you particularly well, because words that are feminine in French are sometimes masculine in Spanish. There's no particular international organization to it. You think maybe the EU would have got their acts together and made it standard, but no, they haven't. And how do you remember which word is masculine and which is feminine? It's a pretty long process. I don't think you can sort of get a list, go through a dictionary and learn them, not unless you've got a fantastic memory, which I don't. I just pick them up as I go along, and quite often now I still have to look and remember which is which, or ask my granddaughter. So don't worry too much. Again, Spanish will understand what you're saying if you get the gender of the noun wrong. They'll just hopefully appreciate that you're learning and cut you a bit of slack. Maybe they'll correct you, and maybe they'll just let it go. It doesn't. It's not critical to understanding. You can work on the rule that most words that end with an a or an e are feminine, and most that end in o are masculine, but there are lots of exceptions. Mano, meaning hand, is feminine, even though it finishes with an o. And dia, meaning day, is masculine, so it's el dia. We also have the concept of plurals in the definite and indefinite article. It has to become plural to, as well as masculine or feminine, to match the noun. So in English, we'd say the hand, the hands. In Spanish, la mano and las manos. We have to remember to make the definite or indefinite articles singular, plural, and also match the gender. So the examples we've got there: hand and day, la mano, one hand, las manos, two hands or more than one hand, the hands, una mano, a hand, unas manos, some hands. Same with dia, el dia, los dias. So the plural of el is los. El dia, los dias. Un dia, unos dias. We also have the issue of adjectives changing to match the gender of the noun. A lot of adjectives end with O's or A's, and they do have, where that's the case, they have to change to match the gender. So a tall man is un hombre alto, and a tall woman would be una mujer alta. So make sure the adjectives agree. And if it's plural, it would be los hombres altos and unas mujeres altas. The adjective has to not only match the gender, but it also has to become a plural if the noun is plural. It's one of those things that's tough to remember at first because we don't have this concept at all in English, but it will become second nature to you in Spanish, honestly. It all sounded very complicated to me at first. It will become much, much easier. Now, we have another concept here that we don't particularly have in English. In some parts of England, we used to have thee and thou for you, but it's largely died out, I think, except in remote parts of Yorkshire. So we don't have this formal and informal concept in our grammar. We do in French, where it's vous and tu, and in Spanish, it's usted and tu. So modern Spanish, I think, uses the formal far, far less. And it's used very little in Latin America. That's partly because of my age. A young person might be expected to talk to an older person that they didn't know in the formal mood, just because it shows some respect. We don't have to. We address a younger person in the informal, or one of our peers in the informal, without causing any offence whatsoever. And now I'm that certain age where most people are younger than me, so I get away with using the informal mood very easily. It's not a problem. My son, when he was learning Spanish, learnt it from people, not a textbook, and didn't realise there was a formal mood until he'd been learning for quite a few months, and he uses the informal all the time. The only time it's ever caused any embarrassment was when he used the to form to his wife's 100-year-old grandmother, and even Lucia had to use the formal speech when she's talking to her grandma. So that's more a case of old Ecuadorian tradition rather than anything else. But I think it caused a gasp when my son toed her rather than instead. The differences are quite subtle. I mean, for example, here, ¿Cómo estás? Means how are you? In the informal, it's ¿Cómo estás? And in the formal, it's ¿Cómo está? So it's a subtle difference. We'll really start to have to pay attention to the formal and informal when we start to conjugate verbs. We'll be doing that very soon. So that's something to look forward to. So accents, the fourth topic for today. So, as I said in my notes, if you drive up the A1 for an hour, a bread roll is called something completely different. When I went to work in Yorkshire, my first day, I went to the sandwich shop in the town to get myself something for lunch, and I asked for a ham salad roll, and she said, "Oh, you mean a bread cake? A bread cake?" So I'd never come across the term bread cake before, but you soon learn it. It's just a local way of speaking. Accents sound completely different, even in a small country like the UK. You know, the differences between Newcastle, Glasgow, Leeds, Liverpool, Birmingham, London is quite profound. And if you go to Bristol, well, it's almost a different language in Bristol. They speak really strange. And there are different there are different accents as well in Spanish, quite apart from different languages such as Catalan or Basque. The ones that you'll hear most frequently is in northern Spain, Madrid. You'll get a C. Lunch, dinner will be cena rather than cena. So it's a th rather than a s sound for the soft C. And the double L, the L, can be a y sound, as in lluvia, rain, or a j sound. So let's take the humble creature, the llama. Here's a good friend of mine from Ecuador. Here we'd call it a llama. In Madrid, it would be a llama. In southern Spain, the Balearics, it would be a llama, which is why they say Majorca and not Mallorca. In Latin America, where these creatures live, llamas that is, they're also called llamas. So a j or a y for a double L is quite common to find differences throughout Spain, but particularly Latin America. Latin Americans speak like Southern Spaniards, and the reason for that is that most of the colonists who went across to occupy the newly discovered lands in Central and South America were from Southern Spain, not Northern Spain, and they carried their accent with them, which is now adopted throughout Latin America. I think the trick here is to be able to adapt your accent accordingly to where you are in Spain. When you hear the locals talking, you'll pick up different ways of speech as well as slight different pronunciations. And after a few days, you can be adapting your speech to match theirs. On the coast in Ecuador, they never say buenos dias. They always just say buenas. And if you said buenos dias, you'd sound a bit odd. So after a few times it's happened to you, you just say buenos, and that's fine. You sound almost like a local. In some places it's harder. When I've been to Tenerife in the Canary Islands, I don't think I've ever met anybody who's actually from Tenerife. There's Cubans, Moroccans, Spaniards, South Americans. I've never met anybody who's actually born and bred in the Canaries. So I don't know what the accent's like there. And as I say, it's the same in the UK, and Spanish speakers do struggle with our UK accents. My daughter-in-law has a real problem with the Fenland accent for some reason. She goes to Whittlesea and listens to people in the supermarket there, and she hasn't got a clue what they're talking about. So they are regional accents. What about grammatical accents? So you will see lots of little ticks and squiggles above letters in Spanish. These accents are to tell you one of two things. Generally, to show you where the stress goes in a Spanish word, but it can also indicate the meaning of a word when a word is spelt or sounded the same. I'll give you a few examples in a minute. Now, an important thing to remember is that in Spanish, you only have one stress in the word. The word can only have one stress in it. So the Spanish word for important is importante. There's no accent on any letter, and if that's the case, the stress goes on the penultimate, the last but one, syllable. So it's importante, not importante or importante, and definitely not two stresses, importante. One stress in a word. That stress is really important to being understood in Spanish. So work on it. If there's an accent in a word, behind here on my slides, I should have given you that one. So if there's an accent on a word, it changes the stress in the word to that particular letter. So the Spanish word for Wednesday is miércoles. Now, if it didn't have an accent on the e, it would be miércoles. The accent changes the stress, so you stress the e, miércoles. Likewise, it would be teléfono if there was no accent on the e, but it's teléfono. Quite an important difference to Spanish ears. Spanish ears are really, they can't tell the difference between B's and V's, but they're really highly tuned to the most subtle differences in stress. So it's important to try to get the stress right. You will never ever see two accents on a word. And in Spanish, just as in English, of course, the same word can have different meanings. Por ejemplo, como means how. Como also means like. Como also means I eat. So three different words spelt the same, three different meanings. Como I eat, you'd understand it in the context of the sentence, but like and how maybe not. So if you're reading it, they will put an accent on to show you that como with an accent is how, como without is like. Si means yes, si means if. The accent's put on there in written Spanish to make it clear to you what it is. Same with que, means what, and also that. And el means the and he. So it gets an accent on the he, so that when you're reading it, you know that it's he and not the. So as I said, you'd often know them in spoken Spanish. You generally get the meaning through context, not always, but in the written word, it's often important to be there for clarification. So, ¿cómo estás? How are you? Yo quiero uno como ese. I want one like that. No accents on the second como. There's an accent on estás, just to tell you the stress goes on the a, estás. So we're going to move on. I thought we should actually learn a little bit of Spanish. I've been going on for 50 minutes, so we're coming quite close to the end of the lesson. It looks as if I might have got my timing more or less right, which doesn't happen very often. In class, I'm notorious for not finishing the lesson, but that's because people keep telling me interesting things or asking me questions. Let's learn a little bit of Spanish, just so we can go away from this lesson saying, I have a little bit of Spanish in my head. People who've done the course before, you know all this, but it doesn't hurt to refresh your memory. Greetings and farewells. Let's have a look. The greeting and a farewell is the basis of any conversation, and even if that's all you can manage in Spanish, I think most Spanish speakers will appreciate that at least you've made some effort, and that would help oil the wheels. So if you're in a formal situation, you should probably use señor, señora, señorita. If you go into a shop, go to shop in England, you often you don't say anything to anybody, but in Spain and a lot of parts of the continent, you'd be expected to walk in and say hello, good morning, announce yourself. So you walk into a shop in Spain, buenos dias, señor. Buenos dias, señora is a good idea. Yeah, it's a nice thing to say. It's respectful. The Spanish also have this extra respectful titles, don or doña. It's hard to know how these have been applied or chosen. Some people just end up as don and doña, and sometimes it's a mark of affection as much as your status. In Ecuador, when I was there last time, I spent some time in the high Andes, and there was a chap there who was known by everybody as Don Alfredo, and Don Alfredo lived in a breeze block hut with a corrugated iron roof, which he shared with pigs and his family, and he was poor as a church mouse, but he was Don Alfredo, and I think it's just a term of endearment. He's obviously somebody in the community who'd been around there a long time. They used to call me Don Eric in the family house, and I think that was hopefully a term of endearment. Certainly nothing to do with my status. Doña Elena was Lucia's 100-year-old grandmother. She'd gained the title through respect and for living a long, long time. So you will come across those from time to time. But greetings. So we've got formal greetings. Buenos dias is the English equivalent to good day, good morning. Buenas tardes if it's the afternoon, or buenas noches if it's evening. And the answer could be muy buenas, if it's the afternoon or the evening. So yeah, good evening, evening sort of thing, we'd say in English. Informally, hola is the standard, often accompanied by a little inquiry. Hi, how's it going? It would be the English equivalent. In parts of Latin America, que hubo is quite common, as is que tal and que más. They all mean hi, how's it going? So que tal is, and que hubo is what's been made, what happened, what more, but they're literal translations, and you can't always do literal translations. They don't make any sense. Hola, ¿qué tal is what I'd use in an informal situation. Hi, how's it going? Farewells, adios, which means to God, adios, to God. It's rather formal. Ciao is the informal cheerio. But you can also use nos vemos, which means see you. Nos vemos means we will see each other. But again, literal translations don't work. Means see you. Hasta luego, see you later. Hasta pronto, see you soon. The Terminator is famous for hasta la vista. You can say that, until I see you. Don't say hasta la vista, baby. That doesn't work at all. So they're fine. Now in English, we'd often say something like, bye, take care. You could do that in Spanish. So nos vemos, cuídate would be see you, take care. Nos vemos pronto, see you soon. You could also say nos vemos, que te vaya bien. See you, good luck. Or que tengas un buen día. Have a good day. That works perfectly well. So if we're finishing off the lesson, I would say to you all, ciao, nos vemos la próxima semana. Cheerio, see you next week. Each other next week. To which you can answer, hasta el martes. Until Tuesday, cuídate, take care. So that's the Zoom formal bit of the meeting over and done with. I'm going to get rid of the PowerPoint now. Hopefully we'll go back to the words. I think I've still got everybody there. On the notes that I sent you round, there was a little bit of homework. Learn, if you can, go through the alphabet, get it, make it more familiar to yourself. I've put the link there to a video on YouTube, which is by a couple called I think their YouTube channel is called Spanish and Go, but it's by a couple called Jim and Mai. Mai is Mexican, Jim is American. He learnt Mexican, he learnt Spanish, I beg your pardon, Mexican Spanish, because he was living with a Mexican. And they go through the alphabet. It's quite useful. It's quite a useful tour to look at that a couple of times. You will notice a few slight differences in Latin America. Pronounce y and y as j. So be aware of that. That's just one of these regional accents. Nothing I can do about it. Also, learn your hellos and goodbyes. Say hello and goodbye to your dog. Say hello and goodbye to your wife or your partner or anybody else who listen. I think it's a great idea to sign up for some additional lessons and practice. I'm a great, but you won't learn Spanish from me in one lesson a week. You need to do something else. Rosetta Stone is apparently very good. I've never used it myself, but I know a lot of people that have used it for Spanish and other languages, and it's said to be very good. It is a bit more expensive. Michel Thomas has good series of CDs, which are also available now online. Again, it's a paid for service. Michel's quite good, a little bit annoying in places. He has these two people who he's supposed to be teaching. One of them's a bit slow on the uptake, and the other's answers all the questions off pat. And it can be a bit annoying, but it's good. It's good Spanish, so put up with it. Duolingo, a lot of us use. That's free. Again, it is. I find it intensely annoying, but it is free and it is good. And it's got a lot of features have been added to it. You can sign up for free of charge on that. So it's definitely worth doing. I think everybody's probably using it, aren't they? Everybody's using Duolingo.
Yeah.
We use, we use, Jerry.
Yeah, every day.
Every day. Well done, Abigail.
I don't want to lose my streak.
Yeah. Oh, yes. You're competitive. You want to to the table and get your bonus points. Don't blame you.
Yeah.
Don't blame you. Is there any questions about today's lesson?
I went very well, Phil.
Yeah, it went smoother than I expected, and I've managed to get through without a coughing fit. And
Yeah.
I hope you appreciated I've taken extra care upon my wife's instructions not to sit anywhere where there's dirty washing on view, different things hanging up. So I had to choose my venue very, very carefully. So if this is recorded okay, I'll make it available to everybody to listen to somehow. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, but we will. We'll do the same again next week.
Yep.
And I'll be sending the notes around in advance, and exactly the same format, same time, next Tuesday, 10 o'clock. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.